Right, we're back.
Football DNA, baby.
Football DNA, we're back. It's like game 3. And Adrian and myself are here to talk about a couple of the things that we thought that we took out from the games from our teams, Arsenal and Liverpool, and maybe a couple other talking points. So let's just dive straight in. And I think we agreed we would just touch on, I didn't want to talk about too much about Arsenal, but there was, for me, it's just sometimes one thing stands out above the rest. And before the game started, everyone was talking about Ozil. You know, was he in my opinion, he should have got dropped in the second game. But given that he's a top player, given that he's a big player, you know, the manager's done the opposite. He either drops him or he goes the other end of the spectrum and goes, right, I'm going to you're the man. I'm going to give you the captain's armband. You know, go and produce a performance and prove everyone you deserve the shirt. Well, he did that. And to be fair, that probably was the right call. So give Emery respect for that. And then Ozil went and put in a mediocre performance again. He brings him off after 60 minutes, rightly so. Not let him play the whole game or stay on, you know, till the later stage. Brought him off 60 minutes. And then you think, right, this third game, he's dropped. There's no way he's starting that third game. Not with two absolutely poor performances. All I knew was when I saw the team lineup that Ozil's not in the squad. Which was surprising because I thought he would be in the squad, just not in the first 11. And then later on, the story comes out that apparently he's ill. Now, I was having a conversation with someone saying that when top players don't get selected for poor performances or get dropped, they often find other reasons to tell the media why they're not in the team. Because if obviously Emery says, I'm dropping you, or that's what the announcement is, because he would get grilled at a press conference. Why is Ozil not in the team? Oh, I've dropped him. The media would go mental.
Yeah, it starts the circus, doesn't it?
Yeah, it starts the circus. So it's easy to go, he's got a little knock. In this case, apparently he's got a cold. But
because he was in the changing room and part of the match day squad an hour prior to match day.
Well, apparently, what I read was that on Thursday, he had a meeting with him and basically said, I don't know how true these stories are, but he had a meeting with the player and said, with Ozil, said that he's got to, he wants to play in a slightly different position. And apparently that same day, after the meeting, he went home sick. Right? On the same day, after getting told this new position story.
Do we know what position that was?
No, I don't know, but probably he wanted him to defend more, pretty much. You probably say, stay there, but you need to run more because you're bloody lazy. Yeah. And then anyway, so then the next day he rings in sick. And gets signed off for 2 days by the club. Sorry, this was on the Wednesday that happened. Then he rings in sick and he gets signed off by the club for 2 days. So he's off Thursday and Friday. And then Saturday comes and obviously Emery's like, look, if he's not well, then just stay at home. And all of a sudden he turns up and he comes to the match day. He's almost there, but he's like, I'm too ill to play, but I'm there. So obviously if you think from the manager's perspective, he's thinking, well, if you're too ill, you should be at home.
Yeah.
Don't come. And then, so I reckon that probably annoyed the manager that he turned up.
Yeah,
because the manager's thinking, what, you're not ill enough to not come out the house. You're just here like, oh, but I'm not well enough to play. And I just think like it's really poor form. But personally, I don't think that's a story at all. I think that's probably the story Arsenal leaked to the media about him being ill. But the truth is, I'm adamant he's been dropped. And rightly so. And I think it's right that they cover it up. My point about talking about it isn't that they covered up him being dropped. Is that I'm just glad he got dropped. I don't care if they say he's ill. They can say he's anything. He had personal something going on. I don't care. He got dropped. He should be dropped. He was crap. Emery. My only issue, actually, if anything, is that he dropped him and he kept Iwobi, and then he brought in Ramsey. Ramsey was like man of the match.
Oh, okay.
Ramsey actually got star rated man of the match.
Sure.
Right, now, I didn't see the game to say he was the best player on the pitch, but the fact that they gave him man of the match says he had a good game.
Yeah, sure.
So he dropped Ramsey, brings Ramsey in for Ozil. Ramsey's man of the match. He kept with Iwobi, which was probably the right decision.
Iwobi's been good.
Given he played well after bringing him in. Although
played well at Chelsea.
Although in that game, Iwobi gets drawn off at half time because the midfield's not working, and it's probably Iwobi's probably the casualty of the midfield not working. And then
in the Chelsea match,
in the West Ham game.
Okay.
Iwobi gets brought off at half. Gets brought off at half time, and on comes Lacazette. You know, and then obviously Lacazette comes on and you know does really well and has a great 45 minutes. which just to me again he keeps proving Lacazette that hang on, I'm should be in the team. But anyway, that's besides the point. But I'm just glad, I suppose, just to say that Ozil got dropped. As far as I'm concerned, Ramsey proved he should be in the team. Lacazette proved he should be in the team. And I don't know about Mkhitaryan, but all I know is that Ozil's proven he shouldn't be in the team. And unless one of those, Iwobi or Mkhitaryan, aren't pulling their weight, then I just think that Ozil's going to have to fight to get back in this side. I can't see how he's just going to walk back into that team. Not with the way Lacazette's playing, proving like, hang on, I should be in that team. Change the shape, make it, maybe put Aubameyang out wide, make me the number 9, or put me into that 3, because he's like an impact player. He's coming on and just causing havoc. Like if you watch him play, he's causing havoc.
I know he's been doing very well as a substitute. My question starts to become, when he does get a chance, I hope he performs, because he could be just known as an impact player for Arsenal. Otherwise, obviously time will tell on starts, but some players are good reacting to that situation of being that frustrated sub and come on and impact the game. I'm interested to see how he plays when he gets into the team. But
then he's got to have if you think of all the other players like he's up against, like Aubameyang. And all the midfielders, because I know he's not competing with the midfielders, but if you just think of all the players in the team, they're having countless game after game of game time to prove their worth.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lacazette needs the same.
Yeah, I agree.
Like you can't give Lacazette 2 games and go, he didn't produce it in 2 games.
I agree.
Because Wenger actually did that. So I think you need to give that man 10, 15 games on the spin and let him prove his worth.
I think because agree more.
You know what I mean? So I think what he's done in these 3 games is show, despite he's disappointed, you can see he's disappointed, but the difference between him and Ozil's thrown his toys at his pram, right? And Lacazette's coming on and performing. And that's what a professional should do.
Well, absolutely. Go back to the Ozil situation. For me, it's like from last season, he was always the talking point when it came to any adverse, Arsenal situation with the team not performing. Alongside Wenger, it was Ozil. It wasn't Wenger and the powers above him. It was Ozil. He was constantly in the, on the lips of everybody. And there comes a time in football where a player who's been at Arsenal for over 5 years now, he's not bringing a positive force to the club anymore. There was a time when, I'm not saying he can't bring it back, but at one point everything good went through Ozil, and now it seems to be on the decline, that kind of narrative. He's not a good story about him anymore. And it's like, can he rekindle that? Where is his role in this Arsenal new beginning? Because he has to find a role where he's going to actually elevate the team, because he's got that ability to make others play. That's the beautiful thing. But you waxed lyrical about him for many a time, and you was once saying, Adrian, this guy is different class. And I not being an Arsenal fan, didn't see him as closely on the eye as you did. And I started to watch him more, and I saw the way he just brings players into play. It's a beautiful way he plays. And I want to see that Ozil back. Yeah. So he has to find it.
Yeah, he does. And I think his personal, 100%, for me, he's had this thing with the German national team. It's obviously causing him some kind of grief.
It's a massive situation. It's like a breakdown in the relationship, isn't it?
It's causing him some kind of grief, and his mind's not right.
Yeah.
And the things with all the top players, not any player, but certainly the top players, you see that, you think of the biggest player in that club, like you think of the Cristiano Ronaldo, I know he's moved to Europe, but say at Madrid. If he's having a strop and his head's not in the right place, that's affecting the team.
Absolutely.
Right? And that's the same for Ozil at Arsenal. And so his head's not in it. We can see this, whatever's wrong, I'm not saying his head's not in it, but there's something wrong mentally in terms of where he's at.
He's not flourishing at the moment, is he?
And when his head's not in it, that's a problem. Likewise, when his head's in it and he's in the right space, you're going to see that affect how he performs. And obviously it has a positive impact or it has a negative impact. And when you're not in the right frame of mind, it's going to have a negative impact. And that's what we're seeing. But I think the managers should see that. If he needs time out, he needs time out. But what's probably happening is the manager has spoken to him about it, I'm sure. And I'm sure the player's saying, no, I want to play. And then obviously the manager's going, okay, well, if you're ready to play, fine, you can play. But then if you strut about, throw your toys around, express literally to all that are watching, all fans at the game, fans at home, we can all see you ain't right in your head and you're being a stroppy little bastard. Like apparently, in the Chelsea game, when he got subbed, he strolled off the pitch, and apparently the manager was furious with him because he took ages to get off the pitch. Yeah. He's just like, because he's being a stroppy little bastard.
Sure.
And you're like, just get off and we want someone on.
Those actions alone show a man whose mind's not right, and I think
two games in.
But what has happened to him in terms of the Germany situation is so deep. I mean, no one can really understand how deep a situation it is, because we're talking about him, identifying his German roots as not being as concrete as once first thought, and he's like the Turkish element of his background's really being questioned, and his loyalty to Germany, and it's all sorts of like strands of racism coming out and stuff like this.
Well, there's a witch hunt in Germany because they bombed out the World Cup, so it's like if that happened in England, everyone's character's being questioned.
Absolutely.
Ozil's the kingpin, so he's getting it. He's the Beckham of the team, isn't he? Like, he's getting the credit.
I agree. I agree. But at the same token, I think off the back of that, you've got a player now who, like a lot of things in life, like you're going to do what you feel most comfortable doing, even when you know that you're not right. So you're going to say, I can go in and do this job, just to take your mind off whatever's going on. And clearly, he's not in the right place, and I think it is down to Emery to be like aware of that and say, actually, you're coming out of the team for a bit, your head is not right, and you're affecting everyone around you, because at the moment this dark cloud that you've got is affecting everybody. But
it's a real difficult one, because I've and only at an amateur level it's not, but it's the same thing, where I've managed a football team, and you take out a key player for any reason other than footballing. If you take out a key player for their attitude, right, not for even footballing reasons, but for, not having the right attitude, not being professional, you take out a key influential player out of the team, there's repercussions. And it's not easy to handle that situation as the manager. So I get why the manager's actually played him in, despite him probably not being in the right headspace, because it's obviously he's not in the right headspace. But when it's played out on TV, it's played out in public, then you're forced your hand. Like him bringing him off, he knew when he brought him off on 60 minutes against Chelsea, he knew he's going to get questioned on that. 60 minutes, Ozil never gets brought off on 60 minutes. That's a player coming off, go, right, you're playing shit, get off. We need to bring someone on to replace you. You don't get brought off, most people don't get brought off for 6 minutes for tactical reasons. Most of the time it's like, right, you're shit, get off, someone else come on. It ain't fresh legs. This is like, no, you're the weak link here, bring someone else on. And certainly in the Chelsea game, he was the weak link, and out of the trio, out of the midfield. And then obviously you get dropped for the next game. So I just think it's so different with these big players. Like, there's repercussions. Like, you go from this one decision to he wants to leave the club. I'm not saying he does want to.
No, but I understand how it can.
It's such a sort of
like pick up pace.
It just picks. It just goes from one thing. You look at the Pogba situation.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? One tiff with Mourinho, and all of a sudden it's like they don't get on. He wants to leave, and they generally don't. One thing becomes a big thing.
I agree.
And with these big egos, these big players. So, but anyway, that's the Ozil situation. So I think we've chewed that one to cud. I'm pleased that he's out. And I just only hope for the next game he's out again, because I think the way everyone else played proved he should stay out for now.
Yeah.
So that's how I want to see it. So I'm hoping Emery.
He needs time out.
I hope Emery does that for the next game. So we'll see. I think Cardiff Super Sunday away or at home, not sure, but Super Sunday I think Cardiff. So we'll see. It's certainly a perfect game to keep him out again. It's not like we're playing Tottenham or Liverpool or so. The game's a good game to go, let's leave him out again.
Yeah, sure.
So we'll see. But yeah, look, moving on to Liverpool. So Liverpool had an interesting tie.
1-0. We beat the mighty Brighton, who had only conquered Man United the week before at home, convincingly. 3-2 it finished, but it actually,
Liverpool fans are playing down and up all their achievements. All their achievements so far. But, I said last week that Liverpool will win, but it won't be an easy game.
It won't.
Is that probably how it played out in your life?
I mean, it wasn't an easy game. Having said that, the first half absolutely swarmed them, and they were unable to get outside across the halfway line. We really did have them penned in, and our counter pressing was just on another level. Yeah. We lost it. We swarmed them, got it back, and with the ball up to Glenn Murray was being swallowed by Virgil van Dijk and Gomez. They were absolutely on form, and the levels that partnership starting to really work.
Yeah.
The ability to win 1-0 and not concede a goal.
Yeah.
Venner only had 1-0. We won against Palace 2-0 from the game prior. But my point being that Liverpool, as a Liverpool fan, you're always on shaky ground. Like, we can be brilliant in one moment and then like ghastly in the next, and in a defensive sense, giving away needless goals, making calamitous decisions, and just letting teams back in. A team like Brighton could go.
But that's. I just think that's like, I think that's just the past. I think you're thinking of teams from 2 years ago.
Well, no, even last season. Yeah, but last season we'll be playing Bournemouth at home and 2-0 up and conceding 2 goals at Anfield, and Bournemouth going home with
but Liverpool got one of the best records in the last 20-30 games in the Premier League. So
but Anfield, we're not bad. What I mean is that we would still concede goals.
Well, not this year, you haven't.
No.
And certainly not at the back end of last season, you weren't.
There's been
no in the season there has, but I don't think if you go back to the last 20 games of the Premier League, which includes last year, Liverpool have been consistent.
We've won match, but we've been conceding goals in games where we could have, where we shouldn't. I
over the course of the season, but you did have the same players. You go back to pre-Christmas. Van Dijk. I'm just saying, your team weren't even the same. And I just think that like you've made if you go back to pre-Van Dijk, you've now got Van Dijk, monster centre half, Alisson, monster goalie, the 2 guys you signed in midfield, alongside the fact all your other strikers and midfield players, Mane, Salah, have just been killing it. Still. Carried on from last year, right? So you've got 3 players, maybe 4, because one of them hasn't quite got into the team yet.
Yeah, Fabinho,
but certainly 3 strong players that have but got into that first 11. If any team out of the top 6 bought 3 players that were big players, and they're in there now first 11. I'm not being funny, but that means you've got a way better first 11. That means you're so much stronger than you were 12 months ago. Right, so I think that it's not about you did it then. You weren't as good then.
That's true.
Your team weren't as solid then. This team is like you throw in 3 quality big players into any of the top sides that walk into that first 11. Arsenal, United, give them 3 now players that they can walk into that first 11, and you're talking about a different team.
Yeah,
and you're talking through the spine, the midfield, the centre midfield almost. The goalkeeper and the centre back.
Yeah,
that's like a spine. You've like literally bought a spine that's solid.
Yeah,
top boy, that's some top boy teammates. I mean, they could all get in. Think of them 3 players. What teams would they get in?
Yeah, most.
They're getting all sorts of teams, man. I mean, across Europe.
As a Liverpool fan, it's unprecedented because we're used to not buying the right players and buying players who are maybe squad filling players.
Yeah.
We're actually buying players now who are actually making a difference immediately. The goalkeeper, Alisson. I mean, did you see that audacious moment that he pulled off?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
I mean, I've never
Brazilian antics. I've never seen it. The only thing that you see close is that Colombian guy did. I've seen the Colombian guy actually did that. Yeah. He's actually did that many years ago, but I've not seen it in the Premier League.
Yeah, that was.
We've had no one in the Premier League that's actually ever had kind of them types of ball control. We did see Joe Hart was the closest player I've seen where Joe Hart used to at City going back in the day. Joe Hart would do a little turn on people on quite a few occasions. He would turn or step over and cut. He would cut the ball nicely and turn inside or out. And he would do that a few times. I've known him do an odd little Cruyff inside, and you know what I mean, like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But not that sort of audate. But actually, forget the little chip. I mean, the chip was just sort of I suppose,
little caveat.
It was like entertainment for the crowd, but which I know it's class in itself. 'Cause if Neymar did it, would all be wetting our pants,
It's just a goalkeeper. It's a goalkeeper. Last line of defence.
But you see his passing. I mean, that man's passing is on point.
Yeah.
His passing is class. I see him pass the ball where someone passed it back to him, and my man just sprayed it first time, like 40 yards. It's not that. When other players do it, other players do some of these passes all the time, and you say good pass and you go that's a good pass, but when the goalie does it with the confidence he does it in, where sometimes it's like he's got no pressure. He's got no need to play that ball first time. But he's just pinged it 50 yards to the man's foot. And you're just like, that is class.
Yeah.
For a goalie to have that kind of quality, that is absolute. Like I've not seen a goalie in the Premier League do
neither. Not the ease.
Not like that.
I saw him like you hit a couple passes so far since he's been here, which have been like, you see a goalkeeper like play the long ball. Yeah. And it's like they get it into the area where that player is. Yeah. But he's hitting people on the chest and on the
right
instep.
Accuracy.
Accuracy is incredible. The range of passing is just extraordinary. And I think we have gone into new realms as Liverpool.
Well, last week we were saying like he's not a goalie. Like you think like if we say offensively it starts with the goalkeeper.
Sure.
Defensively it starts with the striker, right? So, and we always talk about it defensively starting the striker, but we just dismiss the goalie. And now what we're seeing is that the way football's probably evolved, certainly to the modern day, is that certainly the offence starts with the goalie. Now, the offence always starts with the goalie, so this isn't like some new concept. So just to get that out there, it is not a new concept. They've been teaching it for years. The goalie gets the ball, he's the first point of the attack. He can set up attacks. Because if the goalie, if you think of the way Man City play, drop my thing, if you think of the way Man City play, let's play a direct ball, and Liverpool play the same, let's play a direct ball forward. If I can play the ball forward in someone's feet, it's better than playing it to the left, right? Because it's more dangerous going that way, and we're in a more dangerous position. So both teams play quite direct. But it's the same with the goalie. If the goalie doesn't have to pass to the defender, or doesn't have to pass to the midfielder, but he can pass straight to the striker, they're going to be going to play to the striker, right? Because you can play to him. If you can hit him, because that's dangerous. If he can if you ping it to him with accuracy, and he can retain possession and bring it down, they're in trouble. If he gets the ball and turns and faces, they're in trouble. Doesn't matter who they got back.
Immediate danger.
It doesn't matter who they got back. They're in trouble, right? And so this isn't a new. Like I said, it's not a new concept. The goalies wanting to do that. The only difference is over the years is having a goalie that's got that quality who can either throw, kick, and pass like that. Now, going back years in the Premier League, one of the best distributors we ever had was Peter Schmeichel. My man could throw it from anywhere in his box, almost into the opposition's half with killer accuracy. He could throw it that far, almost, right? With killer, he could ping it 100 yards with killer accuracy.
Yeah, his throw was on point.
Right, his throw and his thing, and he just had the pictures when he got the ball. He's already seeing the pass before he receives. He's already seeing the play, and as it's coming, he's already.
I remember
he's made his mind
he
up.
Evolved in not to go too much off topic, but too much Schmeichel, but he evolved that in his game. I remember that wasn't always his thing, and then suddenly he brought that into his game, and he realised that United had this quick break attack. Well, they always had it, but he didn't have that ability straight away. It's something he actually, gained.
Well, he's the one that I remember being like this sort of like, we haven't maybe had a goalie as good as Schmeichel maybe, and that's why we're talking about Alisson now, and maybe Alisson is repeating what Schmeichel did, because I don't know if he's doing anything particularly different than what Schmeichel did when I think about it, because Schmeichel was so far ahead of the rest, to be honest, when it came to ball distribution, and he was a massive part of like Man United's
their attacks,
in terms of their attacks.
Going early, man.
So, but we've not seen a goalie like that before, So now Alisson's come along. He's got the class of a Brazilian in terms of his feet, but we haven't seen someone with that killer accuracy, that distribution level, and it's great to watch. It's absolutely. So you almost can't wait for him to get the ball because you just think this guy's going to make just beautiful passes.
Yeah, he might try something and he's going to make a mistake sooner or later, but. While it's all working, we'll enjoy it, and we're still. And it's alright for people to make mistakes when their whole game is actually based on such positive stuff and what he's contributing to the team. Because another thing, he's given the defenders in front of him that bit more reassurance. Like, don't worry, guys. I'll tell you what spot. He's given a new layer of security, which then helps their games even more.
Well, the players get set and they can play different plays because the goalie can pass. All of a sudden, it's like. We tactically, they would set up where the goalie gets the ball, we can make certain plays. Now when the goalie's got such killer distribution, all of a sudden we can make even more plays when he gets the ball because his passing's so on point that instead of having 2 or 3 plays for when the goalie gets the ball, now they've got 10, now they've got 15 different plays of when he gets the ball and different ways they can set themselves. So I just think it opens up more options for them offensively, and for the manager that's great because it means there's just more plays to run.
Yeah,
because every time he gets the ball,
he's got an extra outfield player almost.
He has, and like I said, every time he gets the ball, it's like we can make an extra play, and or there's more pitches in everyone's head. We can practice more plays, which means we're not so one-dimensional. We don't have just 3 scenarios when he gets the ball. What we do now? We might have 10, 12.
The same with a lot of clubs.
Yeah. So what will happen is in one team he'll set certain plays and go right. We're playing. Brighton, and he'll go right. We're going to run these plays, and this is what we're going to keep because these are the plays that I think will get them. When the goalie gets the ball, these are the 3 plays that we're going to keep trying, or it might be 2 plays. And if that doesn't work at half time, we'll be like, right, let's change it. We're going to run these plays in the second half when the goalie gets the ball. But it's so when you have more options as a football player or as a football manager. And you can run more plays. It just means that there's more options. So when you play different opposition or when things ain't working out, you've got more options to go. Right, run this play, and it's different. It's like American football. They've got a million plays.
Yeah, the playbook. Yeah.
And football's the same. It has plays, but not in that range. I just think what he's probably given Liverpool is more range.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's for a manager. It's fucking brilliant.
It's another. It gives you a whole new dimension.
Yeah. So
adds to the other players, outfield players, mindsets of how they can
exactly. So lastly, what we're going to talk about is Mourinho. So not Mourinho. That's not fair. We wanted to touch on United. They lost 3-0. They've lost 2 now out of the 3. Mourinho storms out the press conference. I mean, losing 3-0 at home to Tottenham. I think game 3. And looking at the stats, some interesting stats. Tottenham ran overall a lot more in distance than United. They done a lot more sprints on average than the United players, and they covered more ground. However, and as a result of that, one of the stats that was interesting that they intercepted the ball a lot more. Now, I think that's a result out of the ground they covered. Now, it's not an exact science. It doesn't mean because they ran more, they intercepted the ball more. But I think that's a natural byproduct of if you do run more, you will get more, intercept the ball more.
Yeah.
I think that does happen. I think the teams that run hard, if you look at City and Liverpool, they running so hard, they're intercepting the ball more
absolutely.
Than the opposition.
It's a byproduct of the hard work.
Yeah, I think so. But United had more shots. They had more possession.
I saw Lukaku miss a fantastic chance.
He went round the keeper. Yeah, I know. He hit it wide.
The first touch was brilliant. And it was on the right hand side.
But it was a bit of an angle, wasn't it? It was a bit of an angle. I think he should have scored, but a bit of an angle.
No. That angle was scoreable.
No.
It wasn't one of those angles where it's too wide.
It's just that when you're leaning away, I'm not trying to defend him, but I just know a new offensive player. When you're leaning away and it is a bit of an angle, I'm just saying it's not as straightforward. And I just think 9 out of 10 times he might score it, but it's not easy. And as a striker, number 9, you want to see a number 9 put that away, right?
Yeah.
And if your midfielder did it, one of your midfielders, you'd almost go, fair enough, it was a bit tricky, a bit awkward. But your main guy, your main striker, your main number 9, like if Salah did that, you'd be like, you got to score that goal, Salah. That's a goal. So when Lukaku does it, he's the number 9, he's the main guy, you're thinking he's got to put that away. Right? So I do accept that, but I still want to give him a little bit of benefit of doubt and say it's a little bit awkward.
I mean, let's just say in a game like that, of that magnitude, and what's at stake, what you want to do in terms of putting your name on the score sheet and elevating yourself, you've got to take that chance in my book. This level where we are, those are the margins.
I agree. I agree.
And I feel like Lukaku is a very good striker, but I feel like the key important moments when they come, they pass him by. And that was another one, unfortunately. I don't want to put it all on him, but those are the moments where you get your team in a better place, and he didn't take it. I didn't watch United study them last year religiously because I just find them boring to watch. But all I kept hearing from pundits, from everybody that mentioned United was, why have you got Lukaku and you're playing with no width and not getting balls in the box?
because that's not how Lukaku's not going to feed off the way you're basically playing. So you bought him, but he's a certain type of striker that plays a certain way, but you're not really playing to his strengths. You know, he needs service. He's one of those, like, I need balls in the box, get out wide, I need balls put in, and I'll get onto the end of them and I'll probably bang some goals. And then when he played for Belgium, everyone was going, oh, look, they play like that. They're playing to his strengths. They're getting balls in the box and he's banging them in. And I felt so... I couldn't help but go eventually after quite a few games with Belgium over the course of the year going, well, to be fair, Belgium are actually getting the ball out wide, putting balls in the box, and Lukaku's looking like a bloody world beater.
Yeah.
And in United, that's not how they're playing. So it's like you've bought a striker who, it doesn't matter that he's one-dimensional, that's his game. Some strikers, this is what I got, this is my repertoire of skill set. Yeah? You can't then make me play different to that. It's like, look at Giroud, that's now at Chelsea when he was at Arsenal. He's a certain type of striker, right? You would agree. He's a big guy, he's a certain type of striker. That's Lukaku. I'm a certain type of striker. I'm not Michael Owen, I'm not Salah, I'm not little, tricky and skillful. You know, who plays with finesse, who plays with class, who little dinks, little... No. Get the ball in, I smash it home. Do you know what I mean? I get on the end, I get half a yard in front of striker, I get above him, I nick in front of him, I hustle, I hurry, I work hard, I bullish, I'm big, I'm strong. You know, I'm gonna win knockdowns. I'm gonna play off me. I'm like an old school centre.
The unfortunate thing is, when you go to Manchester United, you can't be that striker.
But they bought him. That is him.
I know. I get it. It's not his fault. It's not his fault.
He was that. He's never been anything else.
No, it's not his fault. But like, as a United sort of, fan, that I have mates who are as yourself and. You know, they're brought up on a certain game where it's like they have players who sort of link the play, as you know, and they want him to be more of a link player, but we know that's not his strength. And at the moment, I can't think of a winger at Manchester, not like an actual winger, because obviously the game's changed now. The wingers are inside wingers, they're sort of like that hug the line as much. But someone who you can rely to put a cross in the box. I can't think of one at Man United.
No. They just don't play like that. They're just not playing like that at all. I mean, they were doing stats and everything last year about United getting, and it was so dire. And I just think they've got this player that it was going back to like what I said about Arsenal with the philosophy. It's like a manager's got a philosophy, but he's ignoring the players at his disposal. Right? And just ignoring the fact, these are the strengths of my players. Well, I don't care what the strengths of my players are, I'm just going to play like this.
Yeah.
And they don't match that, and I don't care.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm just going to keep
this
flogging
is the way
this.
I play, and I shall continue.
And it just doesn't make sense. I mean, Gary Neville was saying about, but that's the way football is now, and managers have philosophies, and you've got to just believe it. Managers believe in their philosophies, and they just need to play them, and to eventually get the players that can play. I think that's a load of absolute bollocks. I disagree. I disagree with that rhetoric. I disagree. I think you take over a manager in a football club, right? Especially you're in a big time. You can't ride on results and play a certain way and just get beat and just get embarrassed and look like you fucking, like United can't. They've just conceded 6 goals in 2 games.
Back to the game last night. Phil Jones was absolutely mauled by Kane for the first goal. Did you see it?
I did.
This is one of these goals that, as a defender, when you're looking at it thinking, I didn't get near him, and he's done a looping header and put it into the corner. I know. Get near it, and I should have at least barged him or something. I got close or touched his shirt, or
You always question when someone like Harry Kane or one of these top players, Salah or one of these guys, they're one of the best players in the league, especially the strikers. And they just go unmarked. Like the hot shotters in the league. Like you think, how does he? If there's anyone to mark in this box, is this dude?
Yeah.
Like this is the one player that you might double up on because this guy just needs half an inch.
Yes.
Right. And when you see them rock up with them kind of goals, you just think, how the hell did you let the best striker, one of the best strikers in the league, go almost unmarked and get a free run on a corner, which is dead ball, so there's no excuse.
Yeah, exactly.
So if
you've got time to set.
You've got time to set.
Yeah.
And that is, as a manager, that's so frustrating because that just comes down to the players on the pitch at the time, in the moment. And almost the manager can't do nothing because he'll just look at them, he'll be tearing his hair out.
But is that part of Mourinho's continued criticism of his lack of defensive quality that's got into the minds of someone like Phil Jones? Suddenly, instead of someone like him, because he's a big lad, isn't he? Having a big stature, believing in his ability to defend and, not giving anything away, Chris Smalling too. Suddenly it's like they're actually starting to lack that belief. So now it comes to a dead ball, or maybe the words of the manager's ringing around his head somewhat. Don't want to make a mistake. I'm marking Harry Kane, and then suddenly in that moment he's lost him, and it's a goal. I think maybe Mourinho's got a bit to
I don't know. Maybe. I mean,
with the way I just think this as well. If you've got whatever you like, going back to your main point, whatever you got, you've got to cherish it. You've got to build them up. I think Mourinho.
You've got to work with what you got. Exactly. You got to work with what you got.
Yeah.
You can't play a way that the players aren't good enough for. I think that's the point, and that's what is frustrating. I don't know if he's doing that. All I do know is that Mourinho, he constantly, like someone was saying the other day, yesterday, that, or Carragher was saying actually, that every time Mourinho gets frustrated at a club because it doesn't go his way, he's either winning, or if it's not going his way, it's like he wants to walk out. He's had enough. And he sort of seems to be a disruptive force when that happens. When it's not going his way, he sort of starts saying all the wrong things. He starts almost slagging the club and getting, ruffling the feathers of the powers that be.
And he knows what he's doing. He's an articulate man.
And then it's almost like his way of going, I want out.
Yeah,
it's not going my way because you're not winning everything. I want out. I'm not happy here.
Yeah, I'm not getting the money out. I'd like to buy, Harry Maguire, and now my defence isn't good. Although, just to make the point, he bought Eric Bailly last season for nearly 40 million. He bought Lindelof as well last season for around the same fee. Lindelof was very highly rated. Everybody wanted him. A lot of people did.
Yeah,
United got him, and then they had those two combined with Smalling, who's always a 6, 7 out of 10 defender. Yeah. Phil Jones, who was once touted as the best player ever or one of the best defenders Alex Ferguson's ever seen. That's what he said anyway, to big up the player or not. But that's what he said, quote. So you've got 4 centre-halves of decent quality. They're not no much.
No.
So I would look at that and think, if you're a proper manager, and he is a proper manager, but if you're a manager who can cultivate talent, you make those players elevate and get them to a point where they can really do a job for you. I mean, don't go quibbling about having those 4 as centre-halves.
No, I agree. I mean, I think, I don't know what Mourinho's game is. I think it's like if things doesn't go his way, it's like he throws a strop. He certainly does it publicly. I'm not sure what he's doing behind closed doors, but publicly he always throws a strop. And it's actually embarrassing. Like I mean, seeing his press conference post-match, it's like, if you're the powers that be at United, you're going to be like, we don't like this. This isn't how we want our managers behaving. Now, Alex Ferguson, many a time, stormed out of press conferences. And it's not that he stormed out. The action of storming out in itself isn't like what's wrong. It's just that he comes to these press conferences like just like this. You already know he's got to pick a fight. He's gonna sort of like just be stupid with whoever is asking him questions. And to be fair, they didn't ask him a stupid question. They were asking him about his 3rd game on the trot, and he just didn't like the nature of the question. Yeah. But I just think, look, the pressure's on for United. 3 games in, no surprise that they're struggling. I think they've got the players to turn it around. But if the manager's not
on board,
on in the right place and not doing the right things, then I think that, like you said, it has an impact on the players in a negative way, and I think that they're going to struggle more. But interesting now, game by game, the pressure on the media. He's creating a media frenzy all on his own. In a negative, it's a negative force, because they're going to scrutinise every second now of United's performance, everything he does, every action, every substitution.
How do you think new players like Fred feel?
Oh my God,
he must be actually terrified now, because he's probably thinking, oh my God, I believe I'm a good player. I did really well for Shakhtar Donetsk. Now I'm in the middle of this midfield at Manchester United, and like, I don't have a real way of playing. When he was playing for Shakhtar Donetsk, Shakhtar play a certain way, get the ball down and move it quickly, very high pressing. It was players all around him interlinked and made him look a good player that brought him to Man United. I think at Man United he's finding that. Actually, I think the biggest criticism of Mourinho is that we don't know how he plays. What is your way of playing? Yeah, and that's his identity.
Yeah, it's lack of identity, isn't it, at United?
Oh, massively.
I mean, when he first came, I think it was quite defensive, but I think it goes back to everything. I think sometimes that you have players, you look at the different clubs he's been at, you have certain players, it works. Other players, the system don't work, and loads of managers have done it. You think of Sam Allardyce, at all the clubs he's been at, and he played a very particular certain way, and he's been at clubs and it was very successful, and he did the same at another club and he bombed out. And that happens. I think that's why playing with this one way, this philosophy, it's been happening for years. I mean, Brian Clough, going back years, when he went to Leeds, he couldn't last because he took over. Brian Clough was known for his football, and he went to Leeds, who were known for just kicking lumps out of everyone, and he tried to get them to play football, and they were like, fuck off.
Yeah.
And he couldn't do it. And this was like the best manager England had ever seen.
Absolutely.
Well, and he couldn't get the best team in England, who were champions of England, to play football, because that was the way he wanted to play, and they rejected his idea of how to play football. And this was arguably the best manager in the league. So it proves over and over again, no matter how good the manager is, you can't make players convert them from one thing completely to something else.
I agree.
So that's where I think maybe Mourinho's struggling. So,
but he should know better because he is a special one.
Well, I just think all the top managers should know. But I mean, I know, and I don't say it arrogantly, but it doesn't take a manager or it doesn't take a football coach long to figure out how good the players are and can they play the system that he's trying to play, because he sees it in training before they play matches with the actual competitive matches from a friendly point of view before they even start the league. He sees it in training. He's implementing the way he wants to play in training. He's building them up for that, and then he's playing games in training and he wants them to play a certain way. He's sitting them down in classrooms going, this is how I want you to play, this is the setup, this is the pictures, these are the plays, all of this has been, they're getting it drummed into their head, and then they're going out on the football pitch and they're coaching them to play, and they're picking apart how they're playing and going, no, stop, when this happens, do that, pass there, look at, this is how we want you to move the ball. And so they're drilling them on the pitch, on the training ground. And then they're playing in games in the training ground, they're coaching games in the training ground. Then they're going into competitive games, not in the Premier League, in friendly situations, and they're seeing how they can implement their philosophy. So the managers have enough time over that pre-season, and like I'm probably referring more to Emery, but the managers can see and have enough time to figure it out. Can these boys do it? Can these players do it? And you can't just keep flogging something that ain't working.
Absolutely.
And that's where I think good managers and some of the best managers adapt. They
quickly
they adapt. And they can change style. They can slightly tweak their setup. They can even change their formation. They can change their plays. They have more range in how they do that. And if you look at City as well, like what I thought was really interesting about City, like slight off point, was even last year, where when they changed the personnel, they actually at times slightly adapted their style just a little bit, because they couldn't just completely play exactly the same way. Their identity was the same, but it was like you have to take into account you've got different players in, like they've got slightly different strengths and weaknesses, and managers, the best managers, are good at being able to understand
identifying how they have quickly,
and how when they bring them in, how we can get the best out of. So say for example Ozil's now dropped, I bring in Iwobi, I bring in whoever. How can we just slightly adapt that he's not there, because what he does no one else can do almost. Like his qualities aren't there anymore. So how do we get the best out of who is there? Can't just carry on exactly 100% the same. It has to be different somewhere. There has to be small differences, and the best managers understand those little small differences and are able to pinpoint them and say to the players, look, you're in that role, but you just got to play slightly different. This is how you play in that position. And I think the best managers do that really well, and they're the ones who end up winning. The ones who win are good at doing that. The ones who become Premier League champions, the ones who are nearly Premier League champions, or the ones who get to the Champions League final, those managers are the ones who can really pinpoint, find detail in little changes, and the ones that win end up doing that. And Mourinho's been a master of that. Yeah. He's been a master of that, but it's just not working now.
Yeah.
But I do agree with him, just to end, he does deserve respect. And he's probably one of the most successful managers we've ever had in the Premier League in terms of as a top coach, and I think he should be given more respect, and I do take that point. So I think the media should give him more respect.
Yeah, and just to close on my part, it's that game, first half, United could have been 2-3 up. That's a fact.
Yeah, well,
that's a fact.
Yeah,
that's a fact. There you go. Back to my Lukaku moment.
Exactly.
It didn't quite happen.
Exactly.
And again, that's your player, Mourinho. You brought him to the club.
Yeah,
you brought him to the club. You got to take ownership of that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, look, I mean, let's wrap up. We're nearly bang on 45 minutes, so that's like, hey, half of football. So maybe that was meant to be.
Timing.
I think we'll be same time next week.
Yeah.
Not sure what we discussed. I'm sure we'll touch on Arsenal and Liverpool again. But yeah, if you like what you're hearing, subscribe to the podcast and click like and get on the YouTube channel for more updates. All right, Football DNA is out. And I dropped the thing, so I'm gonna have to pick that up now. So my bad, guys. My bad.
Nice one, Desi.